recognizing that different people have different triggers too, right? Like what's going to piss me off royally is going to be completely different to what pisses you off royally. I think a common denominator amongst most people generally is disrespect. If you disrespect them in whatever way that they see as disrespect, that's going to hurt them like the most, right? That's the worst feeling you can possibly like give to another human within a certain realm. And different things are going to trigger different people, you know, like I remember a while back we had a conversation about like entitlement, and, you know, kind of putting yourself in a certain light. That'll bother me a lot, but you didn't even pick up on it.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on it. And I was going to say, like, we resonated on that, but from a different angle, because for me, what I hate, and I think it would have come up even, and I'm going to do a really sick case study of this, it would have come up if you were listening closely. What I hate is ungratefulness.
Yes.
And maybe it's because I'm an acts of service guy. That's my love language. If you've ever read the Love Languages book, but like acts of service, like, and words of affirmation, like if you do something for me, that's how I feel love. And if you like affirm me or say I did a good job, that's how I feel love. So if I do something for you and you don't do one of those two things, it feels like a violation because like, I went out of my way and like there was no acknowledgement or no gratefulness. Meanwhile, for you, entitlement is a manifestation of ungratefulness.
I agree.
But for me, it's like you can be entitled and I don't really notice it, but it's if you're ungrateful that I notice it. I don't know if you wanted to continue to develop it or if I can flip it.
No, I mean, I think that's the main part, just kind of recognizing in people. And like when you first meet someone, you're not really going to know what triggers them, what doesn't. So in a way, you kind of want to at least like not tread carefully per se, but, you know, not push common triggers at least, but also be able to identify, okay, are they looking at me differently? Has their tone towards me changed? And these little cues are going to allow you to notice like, okay, maybe I was doing this wrong. What if I change this in a specific way? And then you can start really like changing the angle of the approach.
100%, bro. And the same way I said that like these things are like literally like a mirror is the same way that like there's common triggers of like what people hate and what can ruin a relationship. There's the opposite of like people have a unique language of literally what I was saying of appreciation and how they feel valued. And the same way you've got to like, I actually like, I'm anal about this, but that's just because I've learned it the hard way. And also as a leader, like it's important for you to understand each of the people who work with you. I actually like keep a file of this stuff, right? So like, even when I meet someone, a new relationship, I'll be like, okay, cool. Again, like amazing. You know, I have a huge big shot lawyer who's just kind of come on as like to the advisory board of like the company that I run. And, you know, he took me to dinner at his members club and, you know, super expensive, super exclusive, had a great time. He refused to let me pay for anything, laughed at me when I tried to bring out my car, And yeah, like we got along because we both went to the same university, even though he was, you know, like maybe just over 10 years above me, et cetera, et cetera. That man makes millions of pounds a year. There's nothing materially I can do financially for him to help him.
Yeah.
But literally after we, you know, conversed for 4 hours, just as we were getting in the taxi, you know, he mentioned his 2 young daughters. And I was like, okay, cool, I got him. Because every time I see him, I ask about, oh, how's the little ones? How old are they now? Are they growing? How are they doing in school? What's everything? And it's not like I'm doing it to be a finesser. I genuinely am interested in like his kids. That's his world. Like they're growing so fast. They've probably inherited their dad's IQ. They're probably really like curious and inquisitive and probably nagging him all day with questions. And I genuinely am interested in that, right? And so it's like, oh, okay, you know, it's your wife. You have a wife, or you support X football team. All of these things, because it creates opportunities for you to add value. Because as I said, there's nothing I can add value to him, but there's a ton of books that I loved growing up as a kid, and I could package them up, send them to his house. You know, again, with the lawyer, I know she was a connoisseur of restaurants. And I mentioned that, hey, like, I love this restaurant. I know the owner, I know the manager, they're great people. And she was like, oh, like, it's been on my list. I've never been. I was like, don't worry, I'll sort it. Made sure, you know, the manager gave us a great experience. And it's just being attentive to like people and what they value. You can make you create incredible experiences that wouldn't have otherwise been, you know, whatever. For example, like you're an Arsenal season ticket holder, you love the game. We schedule our meetings around the game. If it's an Arsenal game, it's not happening. Like if we got an exit, right? Or we had the most killer month. Like, an experience that we would share for life that you would never stop talking about is for me to somehow finagle my way to getting you to meet the manager or your favorite players, etc. Because you go to an Arsenal game all the time. So me taking you to the club seats probably isn't going to do anything to you. Would you love to be at the box of Emirates? Yeah, but you could probably figure out a way to be in the box in Emirates if you wanted to. But that, like, being able to step on the pitch and have that moment and take that picture, that's a unique experience that can be created, right? Now, that takes a ton of network. But these are things I think about all the time. Like, when we get to X moment, like, for example, our theme song is, like one of the theme songs, even though, like, not sure if it gets copyrighted or if it's allowed, but like Dreams and Nightmares, everybody knows that's like my hype song, my celebratory song. Like, there's something about that like I feel it emotionally. Like, people who are very close to me know that, like, I always joke, like, if I ever IPO a company on the stock exchange, I need Meek Mill at the after party performing Dreams and Nightmares live. And people think I'm joking, but I'm very serious. And like, if anyone ever made that happen for me, there's nothing that you ask me for. If on the day I IPO a company and you got Meek Mill there to perform, there's nothing you ask me for that, like, I'm not giving you. And that's on the hugest scale once we're, 50, 60 years old and we have the kind of disposable to do that. But it's really small stuff that you can do now. And I think, like, if you have a girlfriend, a brother, a sister, you have close friends, you have a business partner, your parents, right? Just being able to be mad attentive about really, really small things. Like, this week I asked my mom, like, hey, how much you pay the cleaner? Like, she was like, why'd you ask? I was like, oh, don't worry. Because I know the schedule the cleaner comes on and my mum's been complaining about the housework. And I was like, actually, relative investment to my mother's happiness, this is a very cheap investment I can make. I can ask the cleaner to come twice a week instead of once a week. And that's a privilege to be able to afford to do that, right? Or, if you realize, oh, actually, it's £15 an hour. I'm picking a number out of my thing, and it's 3 hours to clean the house. Maybe I can do that for my mom once a month. And that's just going to lighten her load for once a month. It's a £45 investment once a month. You're probably going to spend that on a night out easily that you're not going to remember. It's not going to be an amazing thing, but it's like, that's value you're adding to your mom once a month. And every time she comes back from work and the house is clean, she probably forgets the cleaner is going to come on Tuesday. She goes to work frustrated. She comes back, the whole house is clean. Your mum is happy as heck. And for the next week, try it. Ask whatever you want, because it's not so much. And it goes back to the emotion. I'm like, when we met, like, I'm not the most naturally emotionally intelligent guy. It's something that I understand the science of it because I've had to actively invest and read and study it. It's like, it's the feeling created from that. It's the, oh my gosh, that person thought about me. That person specifically took time and said, how can I make this person happy? How can I add value to them? How can I either give them pleasure or reduce their pain? And I think, again, like, it doesn't have to be gargantuan efforts. It's just really simple.